Never use drugs or alcohol while shooting your bow. Pretty solid advice. Amazon's cheapest hunting bow, $150 for the entire setup, easy to assemble and ready to shoot. But here's the shocker, it performs way better than you'd expect for a super cheap bow. Silky draw, steady shots, until one massive flaw ruins everything. Stick around and see what happens when I shoot it. Amazon's cheapest hunting bow. I've had this for a couple months. I've been meaning to do this review for you guys. I paid about $150 and this is a complete, fully set up bow, ready to shoot. This is the Sanlita Dragon X7. All right, so the first item in the box is gonna be a case. It's a little flimsy, not bad. This is more for just convenient storing of the bow. It will kind of protect it from scratches and dings. It'll help protect the strings as well. So not bad on that. There's no pockets, it's just a main storage for the bow. All right, item number 2 is an arrow rest. This looks like a whisker biscuit style, more like an octane rest. It has these little finger brushes, which is where the arrow sits, and as those wear out, it looks like you can actually take them out and replace them, so that's good. The mounting bracket is metal, but the body and everything else is plastic, and I think that's how they're able to keep the cost low on some of these budget-friendly bow packages, is by replacing some of these components with plastic. In some cases, it can hold up pretty good, but in other cases, not so much. So we're gonna see how much of this stuff is plastic. All right, next up is this quiver. Seems pretty sturdy. Has a loop to hang it. It looks like a detachable, a quick off and on. 5-arrow quiver, pretty simple. We'll check more into that one later. All right, next up we have a stabilizer and a wrist sling. When I first started into archery, I used to use these and I don't anymore, so it's completely personal preference if you want to use this or not. And then the stabilizer, this is to be expected for these budget bows. I think it'll help kind of dampen some of the vibration, but that's not the only purpose of stabilizers. You probably see guys with the really big ones in front and back, and that's what I do now. That's more for how you want the bow to balance at full draw, but I guess not bad for a budget bow. The next item in the box, we have an arrow puller and a release. You used to see these arrow pullers a lot on 3D courses. I shoot a lot of 3D. You don't see near as much of them anymore. Some people think they help, some people don't. I don't use them anymore. And then this release, nothing too fancy about it. Just a standard wrist strap caliper release. We'll check more into that later. All right, next up is a sight. This is a 5-pin sight. The pins look pretty good. It gives you a couple mounting options. Everything's aluminum except for this plastic circle housing here, so that's impressive. Bubble level, it has a sight light. In this card, it tells you before you operate the light to take out the plastic tab, so I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, so I took this cap off the light. I took the 3 batteries out, and there was a really thin piece of plastic. I took it out, I put the batteries back in, and now it turns on just fine. So that's really gonna light your pins up so that you can see them much better in low light conditions. Okay, they also included this bow stand. These are convenient because you can quickly clip them onto the limbs, and then you can set your bow down and pick it up without having to lean over and set it on the ground each time, so that's a nice addition. All right, now for these arrows. It was nice of them to include a dozen arrows in this kit. I'm digging the black and blue. I seen one user review where he complained about the fletchings on these, and it looks like half of mine, so 6 of them. See if you guys can see that. The fletchings are kind of smashed together. These things kind of develop a memory over time, and I seen they responded to the user and told him they could just apply a heat gun or dip these in boiling water to straighten them back up. But those being kind of crammed together in the bubble wrap and stored for who knows how long and then shipped to me, I can see why some of those would get kind of bent. One thing I just noticed is these arrows are surprisingly weak. Arrows are not a one-size-fits-all thing, and it's best practice to buy the arrows per the spine you need for your bow, and these don't say what spine or stiffness they are, and then cut them down the length so that you can shoot them safely. Now this bow says it goes from 0 to 70 pounds and from 17 to 31 inches, and if you were shooting this bow at 31 inches, 70 pounds, this would be way weak and would pose a safety risk. I don't think I'm gonna chance shooting these arrows out of this bow. And if you shoot anything over 50 pounds, over 26 inches, I think these are gonna be a little too weak for you guys. So that's definitely something to be aware of. And last but not least, the bow itself in all black. It actually looks pretty good. It looks like it comes, I don't know if they all do, but this one is set to 27 inches. We'll check the draw weight. I could see those limb bolts are backed out pretty good, so it's probably set pretty low. And the strings, surprisingly, for a budget bow, actually look pretty good. I've seen some OEM strings on these $1,000 bows that don't look as good as these strings do. So next we're going to mount all the accessories, check the specs, change it to fit my specs, and then see how it shoots. Couple key points from the owner's manual here. Some of my favorite warning labels. Never use drugs or alcohol while shooting your bow. Pretty solid advice. Never point or aim your bow at another person. Also pretty good advice. And my favorite, never dry fire your bow. I'm gonna have to remember that one. All right, then it starts to go over some of the bow basics, how to adjust the draw weight, how to adjust your draw length. One thing I found interesting is it says the bow goes from 0 pounds to 70 pounds, but that's not at every draw length. So the only way you can get to 70 pounds is if you have a 31-inch draw length. I'm a 28-inch draw length, and it looks like max draw weight for me is 66.6 pounds. And of course from there, that's just the max draw weight, so you can adjust it to go down in draw weight. All right, so first thing first with the stabilizer, really simple, just screws in right here. Make sure it's nice and tight, just like that. Next, we're gonna take the arrow rest and use the included bolt and washer, and I'm gonna stick it in the closest mounting hole for right now. What's funny about this kit is it came with 9 separate Allen wrenches. And for now, we're just gonna snug this up. The sight has 2 mounting options and then holes for the quiver bracket. So I'm gonna stick them in the holes right before the quiver bracket. So on this quiver, we're just gonna twist off this bracket. We'll set that to the side for now. Take these Allen screws and tighten it down to the back of the sight. Now this should, there we go. All right, now that we have an arrow in the arrow rest, I could see the arrows kind of kicking out to the left a little bit. And what we're gonna wanna do is move the rest to where the center of the arrow is at 1/13/16 of an inch. That's a good starting point for most compound bows. And right now this one's sitting at 1 1/8 inches to the center. So we're gonna loosen up this rest and give it a little adjustment. Just loosen this Allen screw on top. Right there. Another good rest adjustment to do is make sure the bow's level and the arrow's coming 90 degrees from the string. If you don't have levels, you could eyeball it and just make sure that this arrow's going through the center of that arrow rest mounting hole the best that you can. All right, we're gonna test the factory set draw weight and draw length. All right, it's perfect on at 27 inches, which is what the mods are set to, and 36.5 draw weight from the factory. We're gonna max out the limbs and we're gonna set it to 28 and then we're gonna re-verify. Adjusting the draw weight on this bow is pretty simple like most bows. Find the right size Allen wrench and we're gonna tighten both of these down fully. If you wanted to decrease the draw weight on these bows, I highly recommend getting a silver Sharpie and making one little line on the top and bottom limb bolt. This way, when you go to do your adjustments and you're taking 360-degree turns, you know you're doing the exact same amount on the top and on the bottom. To make a draw length adjustment, we have to loosen these two Allen screws and we can then rotate the mod. You can see how conveniently numbered it is, and right now we can see it set at 27. So we're gonna loosen these and adjust it to 28. All right, so after these adjustments, we should be right at 28 inches and somewhere around the ballpark of 66, 67 pounds. All right, so it's right at 28 inches. With a draw weight of 67.9 pounds, so not bad. All right, before someone says, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's in all of that Sitka just to shoot that bow. First of all, how can you even see me? Second of all, this is the warmest clothes that I have right now, and it's 1 degree outside. Why wouldn't I wear all my Sitka?
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong
I wanted to be able to like this bow so I could recommend it to you guys, especially if you're someone that's never shot a bow and you wanted to get into archery, but budgetary reasons maybe kept you from that in the past. I wanted to find a cheap bow like this one, 150 bucks, fully set up. I do like the accessories it came with. I like how the bow looks. I think it draws smooth, but you're probably wondering why I can't recommend this bow, and I want to take you back to the first couple shots that I took with this. All right, so first shot impressions. Draws back pretty smoothly. Ooh, it's loud. Loud and vibraty. Super loud and vibraty. I don't know if I like that. All right, with the bow being so loud and vibraty, I went through everything. I made sure the timing on the cams was good. I checked my paper tune, the string stop position, looked for anything that could be loose or out of place. And I thought maybe the 67 pounds was a little too much for the system. So I took 10 pounds off of the bow. I went ahead and put these rubber string silencer on to see if that helps. And I'm shooting a plenty enough heavy arrow. This thing's almost 500 grains. So with all these changes, let's see if it improved the noise and vibration. No, not really. Still super loud. All right, I've got this bow turned all the way down to 40 pounds to see if it makes any difference at all. So much better. Way less noise, way less vibration, but that's how I would expect this bow to feel at its max draw weight as well. So as you could see, every shot sounded like and felt like this thing was gonna blow up until I got it down to about the 40-pound mark. So anyone that shoots over 40 pounds, I'm sorry, I just cannot recommend this bow. But if you're gonna shoot around the 40 mark and under, this is an extremely good budget bow to start out with. If you guys like this kind of content, please subscribe so I can continue to make it. I still plan on finding you guys a budget hunting bow around the same price that I can recommend in those higher draw weights. So if you know of any bow, make and model from Amazon on the cheaper side, please comment down below and I'll check it out. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. All right, I didn't mean it.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it, a life worth living.